Hey guys, Dr. Chris here. Haven't seen you in a long time. We got a couple boxes here that came in, a couple things that I bought that I want to go over. But first, before I get to the product reviews, I'm going to go over a couple of messages that I got. Mr. Mutiny 1974, aka David, from Down Under, says, "Hi Chris, I just wanted to let you know a big thanks from all the Commodore Amiga enthusiasts out there. You are a awesome help and we love your videos. Keep up the awesome work. From Down Under, Australia, David." So I said, thank you so much. He goes, "I just watched one of your videos on the most expensive 4000 tower. What a beauty. It has set you back heaps, but this is a piece of art. Awesome build. It's up there." And then he said, "I'm laughing the tears out of my eyes when you ran into that poop video. You're one tough hombre." And next up is a box from Mr. Steve, who wrote me a note that says, "Okay, I finally got off my butt and got this off. Some extra stuff as well. Amiga cables and another floppy. If you know of any collectors that would like some of the books, manuals and stuff I have, let me or them know, would you please? I have at least 500 or maybe 1,000 discs of Amiga software. Here is a sample." Pictures. Pictures, looks like that. And he says, "If the price is right, I have a 4000 040 and a couple 500s. If anyone's out there, contact Mr. Steve in the comments. Say you're interested. Maybe you can hook up an email." He's got a lot of Amiga stuff that he recently acquired, and I am now the proud custodian of a couple of these alpha drives. Let's take a peek. Here's one, and some cables. A floppy cover, serial cable, DB9 extension, and I was looking for one of these. Well, this is a little beat up, but it's for a GoTech conversion. It's got the regular old plug, but it has the power cord thing. I'll have to see. Certain drives are more friendlier than others. Came with an Amiga external drive. Whoops. What was this? Put that there. Oh wow, and a vintage button called the Animator. I'll show you this on the GoPro. The Animator. Commodore Amiga. Amazing. Vintage pin. Thank you so much for that, Steve. And 2 pieces of plastic, which are for the floppy disk eject mechanism, I think. Cool, so thank you for that. Let's take a look at these drives. I think this might have been the drive, this thing might have been the drive that was in here, because it says, came with external drive. So that is that one. The normal faceplate is a gray color. This has a Alpha Data booklet, sticker, and another drive with a replacement floppy inside. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Steve. I greatly appreciate it. And we will do a video and tune these up and make sure they work okay and do some belt work if it requires a belt. The original Alpha Data scanner, I believe Mr. Holden Modify did a video on the awesome quality of 1980s hand scanners for your Commodore Amiga. That's always a neat endeavor to roll down these roads that I live in every evening here at the old studios. Next up is useless for you guys, maybe. As you know, I use vintage hardware as well as repair vintage Amigas. I use Apple Xserves from the early 2000s as my primary home server. You know, I like to run vintage hardware because I pick it up for pennies on the dollar, and it was tens of thousands of dollars back then, and now you can pick it up for $70 or $80 and populate it with some cheap hard drives. And I've been running my Xserve for 12 years. So much so that the Xserve Raid power supplies have started to take a dump. So for the mere sum of 40 United States monies, I was able to procure, good God, they're heavy, 2 of these Apple Xserve power supplies that rock in at a whopping 450 watts a pop. So 900 watts total. I am chewing all the time. Now these are used. Massive connector in the front there, you can see. Super humongous. But, you know, no refuzz. It does have some regular capacitors in there. Apple's usually pretty good with the brands that they use. And they simply, you pull the love handle, slap it in, they're hot swappable, and we're good to go. So that's a small update on the Xserve project. I'll get into that. Don't know if I'm going to have to film a video on it because it is just a hot swap. And Apple Server Manager will be happy. It keeps coming on and going off. It does have two. Which leads me to my final thing. I'm a big Macintosh fan, as you know. Mainly Steve era. You know, I'm always into the docks, the docking stations. I did several of them. I'm still running the one with the 2.5 and the NVMe M2 slot in it. But I've always wanted something a little faster. Every dock that I review doesn't live up to its expectations. So, you know how I work. I love doing the Chinese companies that make quality products, which leads me to this. This is the Cabletime 5-in-1 Thunderbolt 4 docking station. It can do 8K at 60 Hertz, 3.2 at 10, or Thunderbolt 4 at 40. Now, my Mac is an M1, and you're thinking this looks humongous. It is the tiniest thing ever. Look at that. Super small. Cabletime Thunderbolt 4 dock. USB 3.2 at 10. 3, and your feeder, and a power. 20 volt, 6 amp power supply. The power supply is larger than the dock. And it's funny because there's one problem with this device. The power cord is a 250 volt, 10 amp EU plug.
Shit.
No worries, I have a bunch of these standard plugs for the United States. Green is good. We got power. Let's plug it in and see if we get a light or anything on here. There's no light. This does come with Velcro, so you can put your power supply on the floor. I'd say 1.2 meter, 3 point a little bit of feet. So now I don't need to remove my dock off of my Mac Mini. I can run it in tandem with the secondary Thunderbolt port. Since this is a powered device, I don't have to worry about taxing the power supply. Let's get this over on the Mac and see how it works. Okay, so here's my Mac Mini setup. You see the dock underneath, the Nuka-Cola chick, my Memorex power center, my printer, and the Drobo. The dock is hooked up right here on my messy desk. Sorry about the camera and the microphone. I also have my 40 gig Thunderbolt NVMe M2 along with a Vantech USB-C 10 gig. The Drobo's mounted. This cable is the power supply because the device has to be plugged in at the top. I moved it out of the way. But Drobo is there. Never had a problem with it. I'm going to copy this to my desktop. So, this is copied to the Mac's internal drive. We'll go here. Bip. Copying. Less than a minute, 8 gigs. That's pretty good for rotational freaking media. Now, the Mac nerfs the Thunderbolt ports by definition. So we're going to use my Thunderbolt 4 drive and see if it connects here at 10 or whatever gigs. So while that's copying, I'm going to plug this drive in. Thunderbolt 4. Whoa. And it connects at 10 gig. You can see it's connected at 10 gig, not 40. That's the Mac nerfing the damn ports. What do I get when I copy something to this drive? I'll copy the same file, 8 gigs here. 10 seconds. That's way faster than it was before. 10 gigs in 8 seconds. That is amazing. Cabletime, awesome job. When I get a freaking Mac that has a true Thunderbolt 4, it's going to be great. Let's hook up some other stuff to it. The Drobo works fine. It's powered off this massive port. So we're going to run a Blackmagic speed test on this disk. And we'll say start. Now remember, Mac nerfs the speed. And it's still good for this drive. Running it, what it says is 10 gig. And this is a Samsung 980 in here, I believe. It'll just keep going. I stopped it in mid-flight. I'm on a 1 gig stress test. Let's do a 5 gig stress test file. Start it. Yeah, that's where it falls on its face, look. And that's not the Cabletime hub, it's the max usage of the Thunderbolt 4 with the M1. Oh, that's right in the toilet. It's still good. I mean, it's not, you know, end of the world. I'm used to working with 30-year-old technology, so this is amazing. So 1 gig stress test does pretty good. 1.2, right under 1.2. Reads should be faster, but they're not. Interesting. Let's eject this disk. Let's put on the other disk, which is supposedly faster, but it is USB-C. We'll use the same plug. This is a 512 gig drive. Start. Same thing, 1.2, 700. So as you can see, based on the different hard drives, whether it's a Thunderbolt 4 drive or a regular USB Type-C, it doesn't matter. This Thunderbolt drive, Thunderbolt hub, the Drobo is Thunderbolt and it is working great. Now it is rotational media. Whoa. So the Drobo's working fine. The hard drives are working fine. I have a Thunderbolt 4 powered hub. Thank you, Cabletime, for making these. Now Cabletime makes a whole boatload of different things. I've checked out a couple of them. They even have one of their other devices on a powered USB-C 10 gig hub. I did in the past. And I really like this company. They're a great company because they give you quality parts. There's a lot of Chinese companies out there that make total garbage, and they sell total garbage. But you get what you pay for, and I've always been an advocate of letting you guys know what I use in the background. This is more personal level stuff, not vintage computer repair, but for my personal side of life. So at CabletimeTech.com, you can get 10% off your first order. I was looking at this 8K docking station because it came with NVMe. It does 3 monitors, 8K, 10 gig SSD enclosure. But I ended up doing the Thunderbolt 4 hub because I really wanted a Thunderbolt 4 device. Now, if you look at their products, they have all sorts of stuff from docking stations. I was interested in the Mac stuff, mini USB-C hubs, USB-C readers. Look at that, USB Type-C, 5 gig hub, all the adapters, DisplayPort, dual DisplayPort, Nintendo Switch docks, laptop stands, Bluetooth speakers with air purifiers, power adapters, all sorts of cool stuff. And this is how I get lost on things. I'm like, oh, I want that, USB-C to Ethernet. And then I start thinking about like other things, and then I get lost in like looking at docking stations. These are how I find these products, and I ended up getting them, and then next thing you know, here we are. So if you're interested in this, you can go to CabletimeTech.com. I'll put some links in the description below for the thing that I got, and you can check out if you're interested. There's no obligation to. Please don't feel like you have to buy something because I say it's cool, unless you want it or you need it. So that's all I got for this video. Sorry it's a weird short one, but it was just some product openings and what I got, and then all of that stuff with the floppy drives, Mr. Steve, and my power supplies for the Xserve, and the Cabletime Thunderbolt 4 hub, which is really cool because I kind of needed it. I needed a powered hub, and then I thought, well, I got a Mac, a Thunderbolt 4. Let's do that. That's all I got for a weird little product review video. So thank you, Steve, and thank you, Cabletime, for making these products. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something.
know if I'm funny, you bastard.